welcome Michael.
Hey, thank you for having me. I appreciate you taking the time today.
Michael's going to be one of 32 authors at the Fall Book Festival this October in Greer, South Carolina at the historic Greer Depot. Michael, tell us about the books that you're going to be bringing with you.
Well, I've got a couple of books. The first one is a memoir that I did recently. Received a Chrysler Book Award
Mhm.
from the association, and was also a five-star reader's best review book.
Mhm.
It's a story basically about my life growing up in. I was born in D.C., grew up in Maryland, had some social anxieties and some issues. I was really quiet as a youth. In fact, one of the funny stories is my one of my teachers was so concerned that I was so quiet during class that she told my parents that she wanted to put the two most talkative kids in class and put me in between them to see if they could draw me out. And it ended up doing the opposite of those two kids now became quiet, which
Whoops.
unintended consequence, actually, it made it easier to teach in that class, but I mean, it's just, little things like that, and then, as I grew up in the Maryland area, I had a little social bubble that I was really good in and, happy with, and then, my dad retired from the government
Mhm.
and decided to move to Michigan,
Mm.
and this was when I was 13 years old, and of course, at 13, you think the whole world's gonna end, and that's the way I looked at it, like my whole world was ending. And, I moved up to Michigan. I didn't know anybody. I didn't feel like I fit in at all. And things began to really kind of spiral to the
Mhm.
point that I really didn't want to be here anymore. And
Mm.
best thing that I can say is I had kind of a divine intervention.
Mm.
And one day, and basically, uh, heard a voice that said, Michael, don't, I have a greater plan for you.
Mhm.
And from that, I kind of tried to look for one good thing every day.
Mhm.
And, whether it's just a leaf or a sunrise or sunset. And the more I started doing that, the the brighter things seemed to get. And
Mm.
bright people started crossing my path. And when I was in high school, I ended up playing football. I was a
Mhm.
place kicker at the high school. And my senior year, Eddie Murray, who's the place kicker for the Detroit Lions, actually
Mm.
came to our one of our practices, and he, uh, interestingly, had he said, your technique looks really good. The only thing I would suggest is that you go from a 2-inch block to a 1-inch block because that would be easier to transition if you want to go, further and play football in college or pros or anything. So
Mm.
interestingly, that holds a special place later in my story, but
Mhm.
just I met the right people. I ended up going to Adrian College for
Mhm.
football, and
Okay.
it was a little Division III school, so I didn't get a
Mhm.
scholarship or anything. But I'd always thought that I was going to be Division I player.
Mhm.
Everything great was going to happen, and that was still part of the transition of trying to live my life differently. Um, you know, I I actually went to the University of Michigan kicking school
Ah.
uh, before the my senior season, which I thought was a great way that now Michigan's going to see how good of a kicker I could be. And one of the little stories in that was they gave you the instruction throughout the day, and then at the end they had this thing called a kickoff where they start you out at an extra point, move you back 5 yards, and just keep moving back. As you miss, you're out of the competition. And I thought
Mhm.
this was my great, great opportunity to show them, and I'll definitely get a scholarship out of this. And got up there. About the third guy before me kicked it and shanked it off to the right. And I remember thinking, gosh, that's really embarrassing. Sorry for him, but wait till they see what I do. And then it came my turn, and I kicked it and made the fatal mistake of picking up my head because I wanted to see it go over.
Mm.
I saw the ball bounce off the crossbar, and I was
Mm.
out at that point and thought, oh, I've just ruined everything. But I guess basically God had a different plan for me.
Mhm.
And uh, interestingly enough, that was the last extra point that I ever missed in a college football stadium. And, it stayed with me and drove me to work hard and do everything I could. And by the time I got to Adrian to play freshman year, I was actually the only person on the team that didn't play a single play, which out of 110 guys on the team was
Wow.
kind of disheartening in one.
Mhm.
But quite honestly, I really wasn't um, doing very well. I had,
Mhm.
I was kicking the ball and it was going in a spiral or like a tornado,
Mhm.
and I really needed to find, where I was. And when I started looking a little bit deeper and started, understanding that I'm here for a purpose, um, I decided on a whim one day. I borrowed some footballs from the coach and went out on a Sunday by myself. And I decided, well, I've always wanted to try it. Let's do this. And I tried it barefoot. And the first time
Oh.
it was perfect end over end, went down about 55, 60 yards. And I knew from there that was what I was supposed to do.
Wow.
So
Didn't that hurt?
if you do it right, it doesn't. If
Okay.
you kick the tee, it definitely does hurt because I've done that a few times where I think I kicked the tee down the field half as much as the football, and
Oh.
definitely hurts, especially when you get it between the knuckle and your toe and your foot. But luckily, I did pretty good and didn't uh, didn't really hurt most of my life. But after that, this my sophomore year, I came back, and that's when everything started to become like a Hollywood movie that I could never write a script any better.
Mhm.
Um, and I ended up the kid who is all Northern California came to our school, and of course he thought he was just going to walk right into a job,
Mhm.
and I really worked hard to make sure I won that job, and I ended up I ended up starting that first game, and we ended up winning 9-7, 3 field goals.
Nice.
And coming off the field, of course, everybody was congratulating me. I was getting pat on the back. I even got interviewed by somebody from the media as I was
Mm.
coming off the field. And then my parents were there, and they came down on the field and were talking to me and told me how proud they were of me. And then they mentioned how a friend of mine was actually in the hospital, and they thought she had spinal meningitis, and
Ooh.
they thought she was going to die from it. And
Mhm.
the interesting thing about that is it really drew me introspectively that, this is just a game. This is really
Mhm.
not, what I did on the field that day. It really kind of brought it home to me that, this is this is a game, but real life is a lot more important. And
Mhm.
there's other people. And during the whole ride home, everybody, of course, was just all excited and cheering and everything. And I was sitting in my own seat, just contemplating all that and, praying for this person and just wondering, why does this have to happen?
Mhm.
And it got me focused on trying to really not do this about myself, but do this for others. And,
Mm.
humble service to others really struck me. And that became a
Mhm.
kind of a center point for the whole season. And before each game, I would, get myself into I do kicker things, I guess, is the bottom line.
Mhm.
Had a routine and a ritual, whatever you want to call it, where I would you know, get by myself, get myself centered, pray about things, pray about other people, and um, always be the last one out of the locker room, last one back in the locker room at halftime or after the game,
Mhm.
and just try to you know keep myself muted, I guess, kind of back to
Mhm.
my old ways. But, the great thing about that is we ended up going to the national playoffs that year.
Oh,
The
wow.
first time in school history, I ended up leading the nation in Division III as a place kicker. I was the number one place kicker that year, field goals made per game,
Mhm.
and became an All American. So I mean,
Nice.
Hollywood could have written that script, but
Mhm.
there was actually more because over the next 2 years, I ended up being a two-time All-American,
Mhm.
first um, first team All-League
Mhm.
3 years in a row, and by the end of my career, I ended up being the only place kicker in Division III history to make all my extra points, and that's
Oh,
a record that I still hold today, 40 years later. So
nice.
um, that's the title of my book, which is "When Perfection Isn't Perfect," and
Mhm.
I was perfect on my extra points, but you know, definitely there was a lot of things that went into that, and trying to stay focused. You know, the book kind of talks a little bit about some of the fun, quirky things that I did. I'd listen to certain songs before every game.
Mhm.
I would shave my foot, being a barefoot kicker, and of course, when you shave your face, you put cologne on it. So I always put cologne on my foot too, which everybody thought that was kind of cute. So that just go through a lot of the things that built up to that, and then a lot of the neat stories and the way people crossed my paths. But
Mhm.
at the end, uh, towards the end of my career,
Mhm.
found out my neighbor in the dorm, his
Mhm.
sister was actually playing volleyball, and he went
Mhm.
over to see her play at one of our rival schools.
Mhm.
And he said that he was sitting in the stands, and the football team came in after practice, and we're sitting in the upper part of the stands talking about their strategy for the game next week when they were going to play us. And comically, they said, "Well, yeah, all we have to do is what coach said. And if we block one of Farrell's extra points, he'll be no good to kick the game-winning field goal if it comes down to it, and we can that's our strategy, that's how we're gonna win." And he came back, of course, and told me, and, everybody in the hallway was kinda laughing a little bit, and that's when it kinda hit me at that point. I didn't really think about the any records or anything,
Mhm.
and, that's when things started to get a little bit real, and I
Yeah.
had to work through that. But ended up making making the extra points, making field goals through the end, and the very last game of the season, for 3 years, we had practiced a thing called the kicker option.
Okay.
Coach said, "Okay, well, if we're up by 4 scores, I'll let you run the kicker option." So that
Okay.
was that was kind of a neat thing. And the very last extra point that I kicked, the ball
Mhm.
slipped off the tee. And if I would have had that 2-inch block, I probably would have kicked the block instead of the football. But because I had that 1-inch block that Eddie Murray had previously
Mhm.
recommended, I kicked the ball, it squeaked over the uprights or the crossbar, and
Mhm.
record was intact. And so, I mean, like like those things working together and crossing
Yeah.
over. And as I look back on everything, it's just really neat how when I gave up trying to be the Division I superstar that I believed I could be, and started listening to what God's plan was for me, and He wanted me to be there, and that's why I needed to be there.
Mhm.
And just not being able to play freshman year, but we also had the number one place kicker in the league that year. I mean,
Mhm.
he was an awesome kicker, and he was first team all league. So there's a reason why I didn't play, and I get that now. I really wasn't ready, but God had a different plan, so I worked hard, and the next couple of years were just absolutely magical. And then I go through the book, and I fortunately or unfortunately, I don't know how to look at it, but my job jersey number was 15, so I came up with the Farrell 15. So
Mhm.
15 things that I had to write about that helped me get focused, do the right things, and just what really helped me through everything. So I at the end of the book, I kind of wrote 15 things that people can use to try to hopefully find their purpose in life. And that's kind of what the whole book is about, is finding your purpose, and that everybody
Mhm.
has a purpose. And hopefully by reading this book, it's a couple of neat little stories about what I went through, but hopefully it's going to help people find what they're going through. And
Mhm.
it seems these days there's just so many kids out there, and so many people just don't feel they have a purpose. And
Yeah.
it's just a message that I felt I needed to get out, and hopefully people will find their purpose by reading this book as well.
So you've got that book and you have other books?
Yes, I also have a devotional which kind of came out of this book, because as I was promoting this, the when perfection isn't perfect,
Mhm.
everyone kept asking me, well, how do you find one good thing every day? I mean, that's 365 days a year. That's How can you find that many things? And then it kind of struck me, well, it's really kind of easy once you start doing it. But yeah,
Mhm.
I get it. It is kind of difficult to try to find one good thing every day. So
Yeah.
I came up with the idea of a book, a daily devotional book,
Mhm.
where you find one good thing every day. I called it Embracing Gratitude. And to each day, I put just a one page devotional. It's got a
Mhm.
little bit of a message to it. Tells you what to look for.
Mhm.
Makes you think about something. Gives you a little paragraph, and then it has some lines underneath where you can write down your thoughts and um, ideas about that. So maybe it's a pet, or maybe it's a sunrise or sunset, or a day at the
Mhm.
beach, or a day in the mountains, just anything. Maybe it's a cup of tea or a cup of coffee that you had that was really good, and just something that you could be grateful for each day.
Mhm.
And so that is kind of the basis for that book, and that came out, and is kind of a guide for people. And then working working towards getting that good news out, I guess, is the best way to put it.
So do
Yeah.
you have more books out or coming out?
I did just actually kind of putting all these things together. It's more of kind of a lifestyle thing. And
Mhm.
that's where I'm kind of discovering, what kind of an author I am, or what do I want to be. So it's like all about reinventing yourself
Mhm.
all the time. So, I used to be in materials management when I was
Mhm.
in the business world. And as I got older and less opportunities came up, I've kind of redesigned my whole life about being an author now. And so I said, well, what else, in this genre of finding your purpose and finding things to be
Mhm.
grateful for? So I decided to come up with a cookbook where
Oh.
you can, it'll help people save money and save time. It's all about slow cooker cooking,
Oh, I
and
love my slow cooker.
it is something that I just came up with, and I'm excited about it. And hopefully that'll help people, again, save money, save
Mhm.
time. You just throw the stuff in a slow cooker and let it go for the day, and you go about your day and do whatever you need to do, and hopefully it'll save some money too, because
Mhm.
so much of that as well these days, that food prices have gone up so high, and
Yes,
hopefully
they have.
people can benefit from that as well. So um, those are basically the three main ones right now. I'm working on a couple of other books. Don't think I'll have it ready by time for this fall, but hopefully
Mhm.
shortly thereafter I'll have a book writing currently about success. So
Oh.
about redefining success. So we'll see.
Oh.
See, hopefully that comes together and works out good as well.
So are you a plotter? Do you, like, have outlines of what you're doing, or is this off the cuff pantser and you or somewhere in between?
Well, actually, I started out as just throwing stuff on a page.
Mhm.
Um, my, of course, my background is in materials, and
Mhm.
then kind of the whole impetus behind this is my dad was going to write a book about his life in the DIA CIA, and he was
Ooh.
starting that, and he was in photo interpretations. I mean, he's got so many had so many stories, I guess is the best way to put it. I mean, he was actually in charge of the SALT II treaty verification with
Oh.
photo interpretation. So he would look at satellite images and make sure that the USSR was going through with the what they were doing in the treaty and
Mhm.
verification, and developed the first pictures from the SR-71 spy plane, and was part of
Ooh.
the first spy satellite that the U.S. made. And I mean, he had all these great stories, and he got probably about 25% of the way through,
Mhm.
and unfortunately passed away.
Oh.
And I was like, I was devastated for the fact that he passed away, but that his story didn't get out, because he had worked with another gentleman. They were kind of like the tag team that went into Southeast Asia during the Vietnamese War
Mhm.
and did photo interpretations, and um, they were kind of responsible for it not expanding out any farther than it was. And
Mhm.
but so that kind of drove me to, okay, well, I know he had a story. It would have been a great story. It still is a great
Mhm.
story. Hopefully we can resurrect it. But the bottom line is, maybe I have a story too.
Mhm.
So I started writing things down, and kind of based on what my kids had kept saying. They all they heard was the glory after effects of all the things that I had
Mhm.
done. And I kept telling them, it really wasn't about me. It was about, my faith, my family, my friends, my
Mhm.
teammates, my coaches. When those things came together, that's when I was able to do great things. It wasn't me doing great things, it was everybody working together. And they just kept telling me, you were born with a silver spoon in your mouth. This was all given to you. You didn't, it didn't,
Mhm.
so that's what got me working on the book and saying, no, here's my story. And when I started, I didn't have a clue what I was doing. I just
Mhm.
started throwing things on a piece of paper, and then I got smart and started outlining things. So I did get an
Mm.
outline eventually,
Okay.
and then things started coming together. And then I found an awesome editor who
Mhm.
helped me kind of pull everything together and make the story really, really pop. And then, you know, once that happened, that's again when everything starts coming together and you start trusting the process. Then I'm learning a little bit more. So this next book about success, I've already got the outline and started putting the pieces together. And so I'm looking forward to actually following the process and doing it a little bit quicker, as the memoir actually took me about 4 years to write. So that
Okay.
was that was tough, but it was it was that's what the process was for me, and I know other people have different processes, and that it took me that long.
Well, and the biggest thing you mentioned there is that it's your process, and that's the thing is
Mhm.
that it's what works best for you. You tried the
Correct.
other way, and that
Mhm.
didn't work. So this is what works for you and how you're going to become a success with following your process. And
Mhm.
I think it's great that you are also sharing that so that other people can learn from your process
Absolutely.
and have their own successes.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah, I think everybody has a story.
mhm,
Everybody has something that they can help other people with in life, and to be able to help them get their story out, just like
mhm.
gotten mine out, is it's also part of the way of giving back, and being humble enough to say, I didn't have all the answers. You're probably not going to have all the answers, but together we
Yeah.
can get this done, and we can make a difference in the world.
That's awesome. Well, I'm looking forward to meeting you in October in person.
Yes, I
We're
am.
gonna we are gonna have a great time. There's gonna be you plus 31 other authors. We're gonna have a couple food trucks and just a great day in beautiful downtown Greer.
I am looking forward to it. It's anytime you can be together with people, and especially everybody that loves books, and
Mhm.
find so many great stories. There's so many good authors out there. A lot of independent authors that don't necessarily get the recognition, but
Mhm.
just being able to meet fellow authors is great for me as well, and I really look forward to it.
Well, thank you for taking this time out of your evening to come on here and share with us your books and your process, and we will see you in October.
I look forward to it. Have a great day.
Thank you.